Syndra v
Ori.
Ori. Okay, awesome. Very intensive matchup. Yep. Hit the wave first. Okay, so something that's really important, like you've done a good job of getting the push, right? I love this. Whenever you have the minion lead, you want to be aggressive, right? The reason why is that if you are aggressive and you push them off, you're going to prevent them from thinning the wave, right? What we want to do is stack big waves into the enemy's turret, right? Level up before them, etc. So once you've gotten the priority like this and you've got minion advantage, we should kind of step forward a little bit, right? Like obviously you don't want to go too
Okay.
far forward because you don't want to take too much minion aggro, but I'd be like stepping forward trying to fish for a Q, right? Because she can't really run up and hit us because we got more minions than her, right? All of our minions will aggro us, aggro her.
I see. Okay.
Yeah,
That makes a lot of sense.
yeah. So I'll just be a little bit more aggressive here, especially with the Q as well. And I'm not really the biggest fan of using the Q to get minions like that because that was a big window there. You could have been punishing her. Same thing here, right? You got 3 minions to 1. Don't give her any space in the lane. Walk up and take up space in the
Oh,
lane,
okay.
right? Like, so you notice how like you're trying to dodge her Q and you get hit. Instead, like just walk up and hit her and then Q her back and just Q her because again, you got the minion lead, right? If you push her away from the wave, we can hit level 2 really nice and easily here.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
Yep, you're about to hit level 2 here. Okay. So we didn't hit 2 very before her. Yes, another biggest thing that you switch minion auto attacks here. Like you notice how you keep autoing this minion? That's great, right? Because you're gonna hit level 2. But then you just swap. So what happens is now she's gonna hit 2 at the same time as you, right? Because you're hitting this minion. You see that?
I do. Yeah, I was worried that the casters would start hitting it and it would just die and I'd
Right.
lose the CS, but that makes sense.
Right. Because you gotta remember the early game, the most important thing is leveling up before your enemy, right? That's the biggest spike you can get. So,
Yeah,
so had you been level 2 before her, you could have pressured her really heavily there.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, she's got QW, so we should be aggressive here, right? Okay, so another thing is playing around Ori's ball, right? I think we're doing not the best job of playing around Ori's ball. You gotta remember, Ori's ball is a very easy skill shot to land if the enemy is close to her ball, right? So what you want to do whenever she throws her ball out is you want to immediately sprint to the opposite side of the lane, right? So if she puts
Oh,
her ball
okay.
here, you should just sprint over here. Because now think about it. Sure, skill shot goes from a not undodgeable skill shot like this to now like that, right? She's go all the way like that. You have way more room to dodge if you're over here.
I see.
Because you notice like you keep standing next to her ball by accident, like right here, right? We're literally right next to her
Yeah,
ball. So you can't really dodge that.
that's a good point. Yeah.
I think also another thing I'm noticing is mental attack is definitely very overwhelmed. Like you keep throwing, like you keep spamming your auto attacks, right? Like it's what happens is you're really missing some of the minions. But what you have to
Yeah.
remember is that once you have the minion lead, you don't need to hit the wave anymore, right? We want to just prevent them from hitting the wave. So right here, again, you got the minion
Okay.
lead, right? We've got we've got more healthy minions than her, right? These casters are almost dead. This melee is almost dead. This cannon is at half. We still got a lot of healthy minions. So instead of spam autoing the wave, just walk up and push her back. Like this whole time here, I've been taking up space in the lane. Be standing here where this line is, right? Don't let her breathe for any of these minions. Anytime she wants to walk up and try to auto a minion, you hit her back because you got a minion lead. And then when the minions get low, then you just last it.
No, that's super helpful. I definitely didn't think about it like that. Okay.
Yeah, because you got totally the right idea, like trying to play for shove. I think you're just not understanding some of the nuances here, right? It's like yeah, you want to hit the wave to get shoved, but if you already have the shove, you don't need to keep hitting the wave because that's just gonna fuck over your last inning.
Well, it has been doing that, but okay. Yeah. So you're saying like once you get shove, it kind of unlocks the option to just
Yes.
kind of walk up and harass them and
Yes.
zone
Exactly.
them.
That's right. So like here, I'm fine with backing out because your spells are on cooldown. That's fine. Again, you don't have a minion to lead yet because you need to wait for this wave here. The second this wave is here, you can walk forward after you're safe from the jungler, right? I'm fine playing defensive right now because the jungler could be here.
He's right there.
Yeah. I think our leaning could have been a little bit better, right? Like I don't think you need to be scared of Yi ganking you, right? You could just be leaning here because if Yi ganks from
Okay.
around, you just back off like this, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So I think you could have actually been aggressive on the Ori, right? Because if we were standing here, we could be aggressive on her. If Yi tries to gank, he has to like go like that, and there's no way you can die.
No, that's super helpful. I wasn't sure how to be aggressive on her and be safe from the E.
Right. Yeah, so you've got the minion deficit right now. So when you have a, so you notice how now when you have a minion deficit, it's very hard to just walk up and hit her. So what I'd be doing now this is where I should be, you should be spam auto attacking the wave, right?
Okay.
Because you have fewer minions, so you've got to get that minion in control again. Does that make sense? So what was your mindset here at this particular point in the lane now, by the way?
Well, I was hoping to either push her off the lane so I could get a reset. Like
Yeah.
I felt like I had kind of won the pressure battle and that like I shouldn't have to reset first.
Yep.
And that was what I was trying to do, like because she was low.
Hmm.
But then obviously Yi showed up.
Yeah. And so I think if we look at the Z again, I think it's again a leaning problem, right? If you freeze frame that right there, you know he's moving bot side. Okay.
Yeah.
So not only do you know he's moving bot side, you also know that all his bot camps are up. How do you know that? Because he's only level 3, right?
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point.
So because he's only level 3, you know he has to be over here. So because you know he has to be over there, you can just lean here, right?
Yes.
And then again, you're safe from me. You could be as aggressive as you want on the Ori.
No, I can see that.
Yeah, you're too low, unfortunately. Yeah, so I'm not the biggest fan of this, but she still has flash, right? She could have just flashed QWD right here.
Yeah, I think it's greedy.
Yeah, I think because she has flash advantage, I think we would just, I would probably just back off on base there.
Okay.
Okay, come back with last chapter though. Very nice. Okay, so again, we don't have the minion advantage. So why is that?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I just
This is the mistake, right? I think right now we can't go forward, right? Reason why we can't go
yeah, I missed
forward
my
is
opportunity.
because you have to push his wave in, right? We got a slow building wave. So just nuke the wave first. I would just throw all my spells on
Okay.
the wave, push the wave in, and now go forward after I push the wave in.
Okay.
Okay, good spells. So notice how much more awkward it is when she has a minion advantage, right? You notice how we have to play way more
Hmm.
defensively now. That's purely because we have fewer minions than her. So she doesn't have to feel scared to walk up. Instead, you have to feel scared.
I see. Okay.
Yep, we gotta wait for our W. Yep, so you got a minion lead, right? So we can be aggressive right now, right? You're level 7 to 6. You got more minions on your side. We can be aggro here. You got all your spells up.
Yeah, I think I should have just waited for the EQ when she was last hitting.
Yep, I think you could have been a little more patient with your
Yeah.
abilities there. And now it's a neutral wave, so I don't want to fight now on a neutral minion wave. Okay, got no spells, gotta back off. Yeah, so I'm also not the biggest fan of your QEs. I think you've been rushing your QEs a lot. I think you need to be way more
Yeah,
patient with them.
yeah, you're right. I guess it just kind of felt like for a lane that I kind of won, I didn't really get that much.
Hmm.
And I think from listening to you, it just sounds like I didn't really utilize the advantages that I had
Yeah, that's
to
right.
push.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because the way you get lead. So remember, in every matchup, the end of the day, what you guys are fighting for is not kills, it's minions, right? It's getting last hits. It's just the kills come as a byproduct because you don't want to sacrifice every creep, right? Everyone wants to farm as much as they can. So every single fight in the lane should be revolving around the minions, right? You need to be thinking about,
I
okay, like
see.
she wants to get this wave that I pushed in on her turret. How can I punish her, right? Or she's pushing me in. How can I be conservative with my spells so that way I don't get punished when I get minions, right? That's how you want to view it. It's always about the minions. And so what will happen is if you start thinking about and playing for the minions and understanding the minion wave states, and you start harassing her on the right minion wave states, she will just fall really far behind because she's gonna have to bleed a ton of minions, right?
Yeah, okay. I definitely haven't been syncing like my trading
Right,
on that. That
right,
helps a lot though.
right.
I mean, sometimes I have been, but
Mm-hmm.
like I don't think intentionally.
Right. Yeah, and you kill her, and then it looks pretty. This now the lane looks pretty good, right? You got 2 kills. I think
Yeah,
you're fine.
the game was never really in question. It was like 1 to 13. I
Yeah,
really that the only reason I wanted to show it to you is I just felt like I didn't get enough of a lead as I
yeah.
should have for how well the lane felt
Well,
it went.
and so I think there's a few things. I think number one is again you have a good foundation, right? And just understanding what to do once we get pushed, right? And what I would actually
Yeah.
recommend you do is go watch a pro player when they get pushed and see what they do. That's Syndra. Like just pay attention
Okay.
to that specifically. Like what do they do once they have push and priority? Once we
I will look
push.
into that. Yeah.
What do we do once we push? But just to jumpstart you, right? We got you know, punishing last hits, right? Punishing last hits. Aggressive positioning, right? And then patience with abilities, overwhelming their mental stack with patience on your abilities, right? Patience with spells. And you got to remember at the end of the day, what you're playing for is minions, right? Always think about the minions, right? Every trade, every ward, every CS you go for, it always is around this the minions. Um,
Okay, and that's why it makes sense not to lose minions by like over autoing the wave when you
yes,
already have
because if you're just
prio.
losing
Okay.
minions, then like what the hell is the point of doing all the work you did, right? You did the hard
Yeah.
part,
Okay.
and then you're missing the easy part.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's super helpful. I had been really trying to get prio. I haven't really thought about
Like
other than
what
like
that
putting
is.
a ward down
Yeah,
or just trying to trade on them, but I haven't really thought about my positioning when I try to do that.
right.
No, that's really helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And then I guess the only other small thing was also the leaning issue, right? I think you could have been
Yeah.
leaning, so especially against junglers with low threat, right? Lean to the opposite side, right? Rather than leaning back, like you're leaning back in the lane. But especially when you're in a winning lane and you got a minion advantage, you still want to be aggressive. Just lean on the opposite side of where the jungler is and ward
Okay.
accordingly.
Okay. No, thank you.
Does that
Awesome.
make sense? What we covered?
Oh yeah, no, 100%. That was really helpful.
Awesome.
You explained, like I said, like why it felt frustrating that I didn't
Yeah.
do as well as I should have, and
Right.
it just like I just didn't use my windows. Thank you.
Awesome. Cool, man.
Thanks, dude.
Thanks for the